Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and just for your information, I've recently moved to a new computer, and this is the first video I've actually recorded on this. So if something seems a little bit off, whether it be the video quality, or whether there's something wrong with the sound or anything that you might notice, please feel free to just let me know in the comments, because I'm not going to be able to tell by myself entirely, because I'm having some weird audio feedback from this computer's GPU, or at least I think that's what it is. So I don't think it's going to come through on the video entirely, but I might miss it. So we're just going to go straight into the game, which is, of course, if you haven't been paying attention, Samurai Warriors Chronicles 3. I just accidentally hit no. So as you can see, I've got about 3 hours in the save file, so let's just load this up. And it won't take us that long to get to the main menu. The loading times in this game are actually somewhat short. If just a tiny little bit annoying, but I mean, this is a pretty decent port loading times wise, so we'll just wait for it, and here we go. That's actually quite loud. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. So, this is Samurai Warriors Chronicles 3. If you've played Samurai Warriors before, you have a pretty good idea what this is and what it's about. So, we'll just go have a look around in the settings first. Not actually that many settings in comparison to your typical Vita port of a Samurai Warriors or a Dynasty Warriors game. You got health objectives, NPC costumes, different sound sliders. Not that many controls, but you can change what buttons do what, but there's not really any room to actually move these buttons too much, so you just be swapping them around a little. You can clear your in-room save data and save and load manually from here, so that's pretty much all there is to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to head into the story mode first. Now, the story mode in this game is a little bit odd, honestly. So, here's how it works. You have a series of events that show up in this story, and they... well, actually, it would be better if we just played one of them. So what these are basically cutscenes from Samurai Warriors 4. And they are basically part of a retelling of the story that you can make some sort of decisions in. Bloody hell. So as you can hear, most of them are voiced in Japanese, and there's no English dub as far as I'm aware, unfortunately. So, you've got these cutscenes that are spread throughout the game, both in these standalone events and in the... what's the word I'm looking for? Both as pre- and post-stage. And you can make these decisions in them, and if you make the right decision, you'll gain favor with that character. Gain enough favor with that character, and you'll go towards unlocking a bonus stage. And you'll also get them as a character for any stage you like, and you can also use them in challenge mode, and we'll get onto challenge mode. Sometimes they spread a bit of comedy throughout it. But yeah, that is basically it, and they just repeat that a heap of times with all these other events. They're also supposed to tell how the story goes, but honestly, I'm only like 6 stages in at this point. If we hide the events, see, I'm only 6 stages in, and I'm already completely lost on what's going on in the story, to tell you the truth. It's really hard to follow, which is kind of strange, because it tends to jump back and forth between different people, and the narration at the start of stages really doesn't help. It's just kind of annoying because it keeps jumping back and forth between different people in different times, and everyone's name's in Japanese, and I'm not being racist here. It is legitimately hard to follow these people because their names are so foreign. That's my problem. They're so foreign, I have trouble remembering who is who. So I end up, yeah, just honestly forgetting a lot of things. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the town first, because town is where our shops are. So we can invest in stuff. So if we invest in our shop, our blacksmith, and our tea house, we get more stuff related to them. The shop is where you go to buy stuff like equipment. You can also come here to change it. The way this game's weapon system works is that every character has 5 different weapon types. So you've got fire, electricity, wind, ground, and ice or something like that. And every character has 5 different varieties of the same weapon. So at the end of every stage, you get a series of upgrade gems, and you can apply them to any particular weapon that you like. Unfortunately, this is a really bad thing, because as soon as you gain the ability to actively change what weapon your character holds, which you actually create via character creation system. So as you can see here, you can change their hairstyle, which for some reason is not actually changing here for some bloody reason. I guess it's because I got that headgear on. But yeah, as you can see, you can change like the face shape. And you can change all sorts of silly things, like I can make my guy just nice and pink. And you can change all sorts of silly accessories on them and all that. And there are things you can go download in the... I actually like that. There are things you can actually go and download that give you extra pieces of armor and extra pieces of armor and accessories. And there are also goals in game that you can accomplish. But yeah, as I said before, you can actually change your weapon, but changing your weapon actually removes all the upgrades that was on it. Or at least as far as I'm aware, keeps them to that weapon, which is kind of disappointing, because I would like to be able to actually keep my progress going. I ended up changing weapon because at this point, I had played with the greatsword on my guy for about 2 hours, and I was getting quite bored, so I swapped to the Naginata, and suddenly I found I couldn't actually complete the stages on normal anymore, which was the difficulty I was playing on, because my weapon had gone too weak, and I couldn't actually do anything. So, yeah, that wasn't very pleasant, but we can also change our portrait. So yeah, that was just a rough preview of what you can do. You can also buy and trade materials that let you upgrade and add stuff to your weapons through the blacksmith. So we can fortify weapons by strengthening their abilities and adding skills to them. But I'll show that off at the end of the stage that I intend on playing. And you can also come to the tea house, which will add favor to specific characters. So say I want to add favor to this guy. Well, let's actually go and do a small tea party. Oh, well, fine. Medium tea party. Just add these two. And we have tea with them. Then we can have tea with... Where was he? There he is. Fortunately, I don't even have the gold to get this guy to maximum. Or at least to the next level. There are different levels, and the higher you get, the more unique events you get with them. And the combination of events and friendliness with those characters will actually unlock bonus stages, as I said before. So, we're going to move on to the Battle of Nagashino. You get 3 difficulties right off the bat, easy, normal, and hard. I would recommend going through on easy, just because eventually you'll get to a point where you won't be able to get through on normal. So just go play on easy for the time being. So the idea is you get this sort of cutscene. It'll look familiar to anyone who's played Samurai Warriors 4. It's a little bit disappointing, honestly, because this game actually came out well before Samurai Warriors 4 in Japan. And now we got it, but it's out several months after Samurai Warriors 4. So anything they introduced in Samurai Warriors 4 feels kind of redundant in this game, especially considering the fact that they want you to pay $40 up front for this. Which is... It just seems a bit crazy, honestly. Like, it seems like a really silly idea. But yeah, the story is told through these narrations, which I liked a lot better when they were voiced in English, but I guess that's just personal taste. But yeah, it is kind of hard to just follow what's going on, because they're constantly throwing different characters and different clans and ideas at you at the same time, and it's confusing. It's honestly really confusing. Also, this might be just personal preference of mine, but I find the Dynasty Warriors characters to be a lot more memorable, but yeah, I'll just put that one away as personal preference. But anyway, at the end of these, you'll get the name of the battle, then it'll automatically throw you into another cutscene if you don't skip it, but I just skipped everything, so... Oh, come on! I guess I just got lucky. Alright. I think I'll just fast forward through these. Fast forwarding isn't actually that much faster. It's weird. The texture quality on those guys is quite good. Then you look at him and it looks like he's been smeared in Vaseline. It's kind of ridiculous. It's quite silly, really. Anyway, we'll just wait for the battle to start. Surely it won't be too long. Maybe one more cutscene and then we'll just get thrown straight into it. Yeah, here we go. So normally you can change what characters you bring in if you play the stage after the first try. And we can also go change our equipment here, but I've just been going with auto-equip because it's not really necessary to do anything else. You can change the battle. You can see the battle information, all the officers, and you can come and change your settings and controls. But we're just going to head straight into battle. So yeah, if you've played Samurai Warriors 4 already, this is going to look extremely familiar. But I will explain everything for those who haven't when the game decides it wants to load. Anytime now. There we go. So, we'll just skip this overhead cutscene. Alright, so here we are in Samurai Warriors Chronicles 3. So, the basic controls are quite simple. You have square and triangle. Now, square is how you start heavy attacks. Whoop, cutscene. That was a very meaningless cutscene, but anyway. So, you start your main chain of attacks by pressing the square button, and you can chain them into a strong attack by hitting the triangle button in the middle of a square chain. We just got an objective there. You can also do strong combos if you manage to stun the enemy like that, and it'll do an instant kill. So, you get objectives and extra objectives. Extra objectives, they don't expect you to do that often. However, if you do them, you get bonus rewards. You'll often get gold or some sort of prize for pulling them off successfully. So, I just displayed one of the game's new features, which is the character switching. You can control up to 4 characters at any one time in this game. And those 4 characters are controlled by selecting the touchscreen. You can also tap on the map, and if you tap on the map, you can actually assign specific troops to go to specific places or attack specific people. So I'm going to set myself to attack him. I'm going to set Kanbei over here to also attack down in this general direction. And he can just sit there and look pretty because he's good at that. Now, another unique feature in this game is the... Ooh, there we go. I've just been ordered to defeat someone else, so... They're actually showing a lot of... So anyway, you press triangle and it activates the hyper attack, and the hyper attack is what you use to get through hordes of enemy people, but... Unfortunately, your triangle attacks can be blocked by enemy officers, so I would not suggest using that very often against them. God, we're getting a lot of objectives on this map. Jesus Christ. Alright, I think I'm going to go get my horse. I'll get my horse and I'll just make a run for it. There we go. Oh, for God's sake, guys. Really? So if you press circle, it'll also activate your Musu attack, which is a super strong chain of attacks. And we've also got the X button. Now, if you press the X button in the middle of an attack chain, you'll do a shadow attack, or shadow strike, or something, which will do a shadow dodge, which will let you do more attacks. Or if you do it at the right timing, you'll automatically dodge an enemy's attack and then go straight into another chain of attacks. You've also got the L button, which is your block and your camera reset, and the R button, which will do a unique attack based on what character you're on. So, if we actually pause the game and go to the... If we go to... Which one of these bloody things is it? I can't remember which one. This is quite confusing. So... Oh, there we go. Attack list. So, as we can see, the special skill for Mitsuhide is automatically counter enemy attacks, which is an interesting ability. Yet another bloody special objective. This battle seems to be going awfully fast, but nevertheless. So the main game is basically just doing these extra objectives and these main objectives, as many as you possibly can. There are some objectives that don't show up the first time due to specific conditions required in order to actually make them happen. So you might need to bring in specific characters or wait for a specific point in the battle in order to make them appear. So there is some replayability in that. Unfortunately, the system where you end up going into a different part of the battle or a different side of the battle doesn't exist in this one. So you end up not having as much replayability as another Warriors game, which is a little bit disappointing, really. I would have liked to have seen alternate sides of battles and different histories like they did back in Samurai Warriors 4, but... no, not Samurai Warriors 4, in Dynasty Warriors 8, but... oh well. Alright, so we load the enemy here, so we'll get some bonus gold once that's done. Huh, instant kills. Interesting. So yeah, the idea is that you're just trying to constantly stay on your toes by swapping to other people. Now, if we tap this thing here, these are our war arts, and that little yellow circle there shows how much of war arts of our war art we have. And once it's full, we can use these. So if we use Stronghold, we'll have stronger defense for a minute. And the idea is you want to be using these as much as possible in order to obviously keep your friends alive. That's pretty much it for the entirety of the mechanics of Samurai Warriors Chronicles 3. You do level up, obviously, and when you level up you get more stuff, and there are items to find around, and obviously when you defeat enemies with specific weapons and stuff, it all does different things, obviously, like a typical Samurai Warriors game. It's just, there is some depth to be had here. Hello, me. There is some depth to be had here. But at the same time, the one thing that I want to talk about is mainly the lack of depth of the modes included with the game. Now, Samurai Warriors, just as a general concept, isn't... what objective am I doing right now? Nothing. No wonder. So, the general idea of a Samurai Warriors game is obviously go through as many of these stages as you can, get as many rewards as you can, and level up your guys to take on the harder stuff. However, the secondary mode in this game is what I'm worried about. Now, the story mode in Samurai Warriors Chronicles 3, as we've shown already, isn't exactly too deep. It's a pretty linear story, with the only replayability being unlocking the extra objectives. I'm just going to swap back to me for this, because I'm already in the right position for this. So, with the story mode being as thin on the ground as it is, at least in comparison to a previous game where you'd have a full other side story to get to. Alright, I'm gonna send these two lovely guys. Nope, wrong thing. I want to send you there. And Mitsuhide, you can go after Baba. Wait, nope, that's the wrong guy. I am silly. You go over Masufoto. There we go. Alright, so we send them in that direction while we take out this guy. So, with the story mode basically only being a one-track pony with just a couple of extra things to go find in every stage, there's not really that much to do or keep you interested in replaying the stages after the first two go-arounds. Which is kind of disappointing because, as I said before, with Dynasty Warriors 8 offering the alternate histories and stuff like that, and, you know, there are the bonus stages, but it's just not as interesting as it could be. It is basically just self-insert Samurai Warriors. That is basically all this story really does. Oh, they're gone. Are they? Are they gone? Okay. First thing I'm going to do is swap to blue, and we move. Sure, this whole mechanic here with... oh, come on. All these bloody objectives that are coming in. Now we swap back to purple. There he is. So, alright, I'll just get back onto my original point, which is there's the challenge mode in this game, which I will demonstrate at least part of it. But the idea with the challenge mode is that there are 3 maps, and they're the same maps every time. So the idea is that you have a bunch of different objectives, and the idea is you have to try and score as many points as possible. But actually, you know what? I'll save it for that. I'll save that for the description of that mode. Hopefully we'll be done with this battle soon enough. I actually quite like Kanbei's moveset, but there we go. Might as well talk about technical performance. Since this game was actively designed for the PlayStation Vita, it's a little, well, I would say actively. It might have been originally made for the 3DS and then ported up to Vita. I can't really tell you for sure. But the port quality is a fair bit better than what I remember Samurai Warriors being. Samurai Warriors 4, I should say. It certainly does look alright, and basically it does match Samurai Warriors 4 and Dynasty Warriors 8, and does beat it out in some places, but there are still performance drops here and there, which is kind of disappointing to see, honestly. Alright, pretty sure we're going after the big boss at this point. But honestly, who knows? Whoops. So the technical performance is basically okay. I guess I'll swap to me for this one. More extra objectives. Okay, so let's just... Oh wow, that's a lot of people. I'll just send Mitsuhide over there, and then I can activate some War Arts when he gets there to try and give him a bit of a boost once he... Alright, now, back to Mitsuhide. We will turn on... We'll get him some Musu. We'll boost his defense. And we'll turn around and immediately get the shit beaten out of us by 5 people. But, alright, hold on. If we put this in just the right position. There is also a Rage mode, which I'm surprised I haven't actually earned the Spirit Energy for. But you can see the Spirit Energy bar down in the bottom left there. And if you fill that up completely, you can go into Rage mode, which lets you do more damage and you move faster. And you can also do a Rage Musu attack, which will do even more damage, obviously, but... I mean, other than that, it's your basic Samurai Warriors game. Or at least your basic adaptation of Samurai Warriors 4. And again, maybe I wouldn't really have a problem with this if, for some reason, they didn't decide to release this like a year after Samurai Warriors 4, which is arguably a more content-rich game. Which it has even more stuff in it, which is really weird because they just spend a ton of time. It's just strange. Like, this game has less in it than Samurai Warriors 4. And yet they released it afterwards. Several months afterwards. But make it cost more at the same time. It's just strange. Alright, so now we'll swap back to Kanbei. Or Kanbei. I don't know, I'll call him Canopy for all anyone cares. Alright, so if we defeat this guy, the battle should be over. And then we can proceed to the challenge mode. There we go. Alright, battle's over. Thank God. Alright, I get it. I get it, Oda. Come on, man. Alright, so we cleared 11 out of 13 objectives, and there is more objectives to do. Everyone gets XP and levels up. And here are the extra stuffs that I was referring to. So, you apply these to whatever weapons you feel are necessary, and they get extra attack boosts and extra abilities, and all such stuff. And you also get items that do different things. You get gold. And we'll just skip these. If we can. Well, depending on... Okay, so yeah, as we can see, we can now place Hanbei. And we also unlock different sets of challenges. So, these challenges show up throughout the game as you gain more... As you do certain things. So, as you can see here, you can select different weapons. It's just something to keep you going as time goes on. So, we'll just proceed. And we should get dumped back to the story mode menu. Here we are. More events and the next story stage. But we're going to go back and play the challenge mode now. So, alright, I'll just wait until we get in. So you get 3 different castles to go through, and you can also come and exchange your points that you earn in the game for different weapon bonuses and different types of weapons for different characters. So you can see you can buy tons of unique stuff. And also boosts for points. So we're going to go play an Osaka Castle on easy. Because that's basically all you can do at this point of the game. Even after 3 hours. So you have the choice of which 4 characters you want to bring in with you. And they're different war arts, all do different things. And some of them can actually help you in this mode because they'll get you extra challenge mode points. But let's just pick people that we actually got that are decently high level. So Hanbei, Toshi, and why not Ieyasu, because why not? And I think I'll just auto-equip the right weapon here. Actually, why am I not equipping this one? It's got stronger attack on it. Anyway. So into battle we go. So this mode has a time limit at the very beginning. You'll be able to see it at the top of the screen once the game loads. Once the game loads. There we go. So this one's got a time limit. And the more enemies you destroy, the more point markers they'll drop. So as you can see here, I just got 10 points. And we get objectives, much like in the main mode. And if we complete those objectives, we get bonus time. So points also get us bonus time if we collect enough of them. So if we collect enough points, we get bonus time. If we do objectives, we get bonus time. And the idea is, you want to be swapping between your characters as much as possible. Ow. You want to be swapping between your characters as much as possible. And searching corners of the castle. Trying to find things like destructible walls, because those do exist. Like I just found one here. And these destructible walls have treasure chests in them. These treasure chests contain more points. So you go through the castle, destroying these walls and trying to find points. And you can also find these chests, which you can also destroy to get points. So you're trying to go through as fast as possible and just trying to find more stuff. That's pretty obvious. And the idea here is to earn points. And you also have these events which come up from time to time. That was weird. The event usually comes up by now. But anyway, the more of the castle opens up as you do more objectives. Where am I? There we go. Alright, so now if we come and beat the crap out of Goemon, we'll get more time, we'll get more points, and it'll move the chain of objectives onward, see? So now, if we just beat the crap out of Goemon, which should be fairly easy. we get more time, we get more points, and once we've done that, more events will start opening up, more objectives will start happening, and more stuff will just occur in general. However, my main problem with this mode is that none of this is random. This happens exactly the same way every single time. So you're constantly just fighting the same stage over and over again in order to try and get more points. Again and again and again. And I must say, it is really, really dull at the very beginning when your characters aren't very strong. So you're pretty much incapable of doing stuff quickly, which is pretty disappointing, honestly. So the idea is, you can leave anytime you like, but for the time being, we're not going to leave because we don't really have that many points, and we've still got 3 minutes to go and get points with. So, where's that supply soldier? Blue, that'd be Hanbei, wouldn't it? Right, so we can stop the sumo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send purple to take care of... Oh, no, yellow's already taking care of that, so we're just going to come and stop the supply soldier, and we get time, and we also get points, because they tend to drop points. But yeah, this goes down pretty much exactly the same way every time, so you end up just repeating the same stage over and over again, and it gets boring as hell. And then eventually you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore because there's really no point to it. Mainly because you're not going to be able to get a ton done until you get a really good team going. And it's just a somewhat disappointing mode because you have to spend so much time preparing for it, and then it's just the same stage over and over again. Maybe if the stages were procedurally generated and had different things happening all at different times, I'd be much more in favor of the mode. Because it would be cool being able to go into different stages and then being able to challenge yourself to push yourself further with the same team. Instead of just having the same thing happen over and over again with a surprisingly strict time limit. Like that trial down there, like execute a 200 hit combo, that comes up all the time. It happens every single time, and it's just... Yeah, see, hang on. We've got a breakable wall there. We have ninjas, and we have treasure chests. If the same things didn't happen every single bloody time, and the walls were procedurally generated, so the rewards went in the same place every single time, and if the objectives came up differently, and there were like maybe, I don't know, let's say 100 objectives for every stage, and they got picked in a random order, maybe I would be a lot more approving of this mode. But at this point, it's just disappointing because if we go to the battle info and check the objectives... Oh, well, actually, it appears that we can't do that just yet. And so while we're here, we might as well beat the absolute bejesus out of Goemon again. Yeah, maybe if the mode was just more procedurally generated and had more content to it, I'd be able to recommend it a lot more, because having a mode where you would just constantly go throughout the castle and try to get heaps of cool stuff, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all, but at the point that it's at, it's just a little bit disappointing. Okay, now we're being told to get 2,000 points, I should say. And now Sun Wukong shows up, because he tends to show up as well. Where is he, anyway? Oh, he's up there with blue. So, we will swap to Hanbei. See if we can defeat Sun Wukong in the next, like, 30 seconds. And I think I'm going to send me back to the staircase, because if I don't have someone by the staircase before the time runs out, that's going to be quite problematic. Okay, apparently we've somehow failed that objective. I don't know how, but... Alright. We'll just spend some time defeating Sun Wukong. Let's activate some... Let's activate some abilities, shall we? Just to... So I can just imagine this getting very boring very quickly because you end up doing exactly the same thing over and over again. Go for the same things, go for the same routes, go for the same hidden treasures. More randomness in the mode would be a lot more preferred, at least in my book. Alright, how are we doing over here? Where's Sun Wukong? There he is. Alright, I don't think I'm going to have time. I'm just going to pop back to me and go up the stairs. We got 2,200 points, which isn't that bad of a score for this point in the game, but then again, I was going with a pretty leveled up team for easy mode, so who knows just how effective I really was. But yeah, that was the castle mode, basically. Since there's no randomness or anything to it, it's basically just getting the best route through the castle, which I find to personally be a bit disappointing. Someone might like it. Like, see... We've got all the same objectives throughout the castle, because as we can see here, I've already completed some and actually unveiled some. But, unveiled the same objectives already, but once you get the specific point levels, you get different stuff, and there's another objective unlocking. But yeah. I just find the mode to be a bit disappointing, because you'll just be repeating the same levels over and over again, trying to get high scores, which isn't my sort of thing. So, a story mode that's relatively shallow and doesn't have that much replayability in it compared to another Samurai Warriors game. And a challenge mode, which is basically just repeating the same path over and over again, trying to get a certain amount of points. Not my thing, don't like it that much. Costs way too much. This game costs 40 bucks, guys. I mean, Dynasty Warriors 8 costs a lot less than this, and it's got more content to it. Pretty much every other Samurai Warriors game on the Vita, and Dynasty Warriors game on the Vita has more content than this, except possibly Dynasty Warriors Next. And even then, that's a bit of a stretch. So, yeah, not that big of a fan of it. Wouldn't outright recommend it over any other Samurai Warriors game. Wait for it to go on sale, personally. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.